Information shared on the following program is for general information purposes only. It does not constitute legal, tax, investment, or other advice, nor is it intended to recommend any particular investments, products, or financial instruments. Always seek advice from your financial advisor, attorney, or accountant with regard to investment, legal, or tax questions.
Welcome to the only show in the country dedicated to helping savers worry less about money, the Worry-Free Retirement, with your host, retirement specialist and six-time author and fiduciary, Tony Walker.
Well, welcome, folks, to the Worry-Free Retirement. And yes, I am that little man in the sweater vest, retirement planning specialist and full-time fiduciary, Tony Walker. And today we have a huge treat for you because not only do we have just one fiduciary in the office with me today, not two, but all three fiduciaries in the Louisville studios on this beautiful January 14th, 2025. Heather, Trey, and Wes, thank you so much for joining us this morning. And I have been looking forward to this. And in fact, we're going to try to do one show, but I've got a feeling all the information we're going to cover today, we may actually cover two shows. So again, thank you for being with us. And Heather, you made the drive from Bowling Green last night. You have a good drive up?
Had a great drive up.
Didn't have as much snow in Bowling Green as you had here in Louisville, did you?
No.
Did you see all that stuff piled up everywhere?
Winter wonderland here.
And I thought the way we're going to do this, because we've got so much information, this is really, folks, covering 2024. We're going to have a look back to 2024. So what I thought I would do is just start off with questions. I'm going to maybe throw the questions to one of you, but feel free to jump in as we move through this. First of all, we want to talk about the Charles Schwab platform. Now, Heather, you've been with me since 2006, I think it was.
That's right.
So I had the platform in the 90s, early 2000s, got away from it when we had those 3 long years of drought in the Dow, 2000, 2001, 2002, and we kind of resurrected that program in 2017. So tell us a little bit about how that's gone since 2017 and the actual ability for our clients now to access these funds through Schwab and the liquidity it offers.
We had a few brokerage accounts prior to the move to Charles Schwab in 2017, but since then it has just grown amazingly. We've had to hire staff, to obviously take care of those accounts. We brought in more fiduciaries to take care of those accounts, but it's really been a perfect fit for our practice. The Schwab account allows us the liquidity that clients need, especially on the front end of a split IRA concept. And it has grown and it's been very popular with our clients.
And I know Shannon Ross had a lot to do with helping us kick that off, and we'll talk about her and her trading in a minute. But Trey, personally, I know you've been with us, right at 10 years now. So
just shy of that.
Just shy of 10 years. Well, I know we've got extra bonuses for those 10 years and later, so if you want to fib a little bit, no. But you can speak to that too, because I know when you came on board, but talk about the trajectory of the Schwab platform and its growth and the clients and how much they love it.
Yeah, I was fortunate to come on right about when the Schwab platform was introduced, so I was able to see what we were doing before that, but also what we're doing after that, and doing a lot of the new business onboarding, kind of getting a lot of that initial paperwork, re-explaining what's going on in the matrix, we call it. That new business onboarding process allows us to kind of get our hands on that money and put it in the accounts that it needs to be in. So we can set that up, and when we deliver those binders, I know Heather and I do a lot of those deliveries, we can kind of tie it up in a bow and present that, and it's all where it needs to be.
And so you all wear several hats. Wes, of course, has really become real focused in the investment world, just doing a great job with Schwab. You've been with us coming on 5 years now, haven't you, Wes?
Right at 5 years, yeah, in December.
And you spend probably as much time as anybody just on the phone with current clients also, explaining rebalancing, explaining what strategies we're going through. So it's evolved a lot over the last 5 years. So speak to what you've seen in the experience of working in the Schwab department.
Sure. Yeah, so the Schwab department has definitely evolved quite a bit, and we manage so many different variety of accounts. There's a number of different people that we have, all the way from younger folks who are just saving to retirement. It's a small portion of our clients. We mainly work with people who are at retirement or already retired, but there are still people who have some money at risk, even people who are retired who are leaving a legacy bucket. But most of our clients, we're working with them to get distributions to them, to use money from the Schwab platform. All those different kinds of accounts require different levels of investment. whether we're going to be aggressive or conservative. And my main role is working with people to dig into how much risk they're willing to take and what kind of investment allocations we should have for those accounts.
Very good. And speaking of let's talk before I throw this number up. Derek's over at the helm there, and Aaron doing a great job producing this. But speak to AUM, assets under management, and the difference, Heather, between the way the financial world looks at AUM, which is just trying to grow the assets, and quite frankly, their fee model is based on that, and our AUM and how excited we are to try to get money back to the clients.
I think the main difference between us and typical advisors is they get paid as we do too, on the amount of AUM, assets under management, that we hold. A lot of other advisors want to hang on to that money because if we let it go out the door, you get paid less. With us, as retirement planning specialists, we look at what is the best way for clients to utilize their funds. So, of course, that we want them to use their money. So we encourage, them to take regular distributions if they need them, and, take the big purchases. We live well, die broke. So it's been a great model for us to be able to, I think you're going to throw out some numbers here in a minute, not only of the assets we have under management, but what we've actually distributed to clients this past year.
Yeah, I know it's interesting. We're always looking at firms getting sold, and they always talk about XYZ firm gobbles up so-and-so who has $400 million. I mean, I've often said this. I think, unfortunately, our financial world, because of this AUM and the way people are paid to handle AUM, people just kind of look like a number out there. I mean, they don't treat them as clients, and we try to, like you said, get that money back. Well, let's show, even though we've sent a lot of money back, we'll talk about the number of trades. Derek's got it up here. Let's see, for 2023, we had about $239 million under management. That's a big number. I mean, going from basically zero in 2017. But look at where we are in 2024, and this is after all the distributions. We're over $314 million. Trey, you want to speak to that a little bit? I mean, a couple of years ago I said, folks, if we hit $200 million, that's fine. But I'm not going to, that's not why we're here to grow this AUM. But does that number really kind of surprise you, be honest?
It's totally surprising. I mean, when we started that platform, it was really cool when we saw these different milestones. Meanwhile, like Heather alluded to, a lot of advisors, it's that obviously acquisition to go get that money as new clients, but also retention. The more you retain, the more you can charge fees on. And we're so opposite of that. We have our split IRA platform, and we usually show that Schwab bucket. I know everybody starts talking about buckets now in the financial world, but with the split IRA, we have that Schwab for liquidity, those one-time purchases, but we can back that up knowing we have those annuities on the back end to not run out of money.
And Wes, you and I've talked about this. I mean, that's a lot of AUM. And I think, what is it we're doing as a firm to make sure we address this, to make sure that it doesn't get out of control also? Because we've got, 2,600 accounts now with Schwab. So speak to the fact of what we are doing right now currently to kind of monitor this and make sure everybody is taken care of that we bring into the fold.
Well, we've always tried to be very conscientious of people as they become clients with us, and as the years go by that we're monitoring their progress. I think something that's relatively new that's kind of come into the fold that we've done a real good job with is the income plan audits. So that's one thing that we're doing, where we're looking at the current values of their Charles Schwab accounts, of their annuities, of other assets, and benchmarking that against the projected values that we would have had on the game plan from the beginning, and just seeing, are we in the same spot that we thought we would be in, be it 5 years, 6 years ago when they first started with us. So that monitor your progress aspect has become really important as we've gone on.
That is a good point, and that's always been a concern of mine. Heather, you know that. I mean, it's great to write business and you're sending money to them, but the people have to also make sure they're on track, and I think that's where our proprietary software comes in and how important that is as we're monitoring the progress.
Oh, absolutely. It's, I think, us really focusing on where people are versus their plan has been a game changer for the last probably 18 months. That's really when we've focused on that, hired additional staff to help with that as well. And I think it really gives us a robust relationship with the clients, and that we can say, hey, we're seeing some deviation from where we are. Let's get you in. Let's talk about your situation and see, if we need to change some things.
And we'll talk more about the saver personality, which is our focus. But I think our saver clients deep down, they don't want to be contacted regularly. I know that was the old deal. Contact us quarterly. They're like, no, we want you to handle it. Now, if there's something wrong, you contact us. And I think that's where the income audits have come in, because now we can contact them if something's out of kilter. But otherwise, if we don't contact them, I always tell them, don't worry about it. That means we're handling it, which is what they're wanting in the first place. Let's talk about now the annuity department. And we kid around about this. I spoke at a conference years ago, and a guy came up and he said, I think I'm going to call you the annuity king. So I had that trademarked. So we're known for annuities. Yeah, you got to watch what you tell me. I got all these trademarks. But we're known for annuities around the country, and we're proud of our annuity production. We're well over $700 million of annuity production. But even with the Schwab, and again, it's not intentional, but it seems like the annuity production keeps growing. So let's get ready to throw these numbers up, and we'll talk about the department. So in 2023, now this was issued premium, we had about $77 million of new premium that went to annuities. And that's a lot of money. I mean, years ago I was at a conference, and, I don't know what I wrote, $20 million or something. Somebody said, man, that's a lot of premium. I said, I know it. I can't believe that. But now we're up to $77 million. Look at 2024. $90 million of new annuity issued premium in 2024. So, Trey, you want to take a stab at this in terms of all of this annuity premium? And a gentleman came in yesterday. He said, one reason I think I'm going to work with you all, he said, I've been hearing you talk about annuities for years, Tony. That's all I'm hearing out there is annuities. So you might want to speak to our expertise in the annuity world, and also how it couples with the Schwab and the split IRA.
Yeah, so in 2023 and 2024, LIMRA has announced record sales of annuities. Coming off 2022 in the market, I think that's no mistake. People were looking for safety, looking for guaranteed income. Retirees have been telling the financial world for years that's what they're looking for. And we've been able to provide that to a lot of our clients by way of our split IRA concept. So the growth of Schwab and the growth of annuity sales have really coincided in the fact that people are looking for guaranteed income, but they also want liquidity.
And when I speak to that, I mean, from the investment world, the ability to use and enjoy the money in the investments, and as we say, spin down that investment bucket, but on the back end, that mailbox money waiting out there, how reassuring is that when people are really spending their money, and there's, live well, die broke, they're literally seeing their accounts go down. That's the whole point of saving the money. But what happens when they realize that mailbox money is waiting out there for them?
Well, in the world of investments, there is only one product that can truly guarantee you will not run out of money. It is an annuity contract. Any other type of investment account, whether it be stocks, bonds, mutual funds, derivatives, any other sorts of products, that guarantee is not implicit. So to have that annuity on the back end and spin down your Schwab on the front end, it kind of gives you a sense of security that in the future, when I take this annuity contract, I know what my income is going to be. I know it's going to be good for the rest of my life or my spouse and myself's life. And it gives you almost a permission slip to use and enjoy your money in the meantime from the Schwab bucket. Going a little bit deeper, we might have some of that money in the Schwab bucket that is used for now to spin down and enjoy. And even let's say they want to leave a legacy, like I mentioned a little earlier, we might invest that a little bit more aggressively so that it grows more. They're not going to use the money and they're going to leave that to kids. But that's kind of where the investment side of things comes into Schwab based on what the goals are with the money itself.
That's a good point. I had a client in yesterday, and they had recently inherited a large amount of money. And they said, well, I want to keep some of this pretty safe. I want to use it and all that. But I would like to take, it was her father's money, some of this money. I don't think I'm going to need it all, and I want you to invest it for growth. Will you do that? Will you set up 2 different accounts? And I said, absolutely. And there was no additional charge for the additional account. So I thought that was pretty cool that we could do it. By the way, we started, do you have that up, Derek, the number of mailbox money accounts we started? We had 125 contracts that were activated kicking on that mailbox money. So that is really cool. I know Mandy Houchins gets to do the honor of that. And people are shocked, aren't they, Heather, when they say, well, now when will this run out? What don't they usually ask that when they start the income?
Well, yeah, and then we say it won't, and they're like, no, but when it does run out, when's it going to run out? It's like, it doesn't. It's lifetime. It's there till you die. So it's very, sometimes it will take a couple of rounds of that for them to really sink in. Oh, I really can't run out of money. No, you can't.
It's really
But, one other thing I'd like to kind of dovetail on what Trey had just said. LIMRA said that there were record sales of annuities this past year. Everybody's jumping on the bandwagon, which is great because we've seen the value of these annuities, for 20 some odd years. And I think it's important to stress that we are really experts in the annuity field versus those that have just started. The products may be the same, but we have the expertise on how to utilize those the best for clients.
And to be quite frankly, you mentioned that we've been using these a long time, and we've seen what's happened with even, let's call it the fixed indexed annuity products, which are great products, but what's happened to participation rates over the years, and how we're now inserting and really defining what's really best and when do we use these fixed indexed annuities. I think it was all kind of blanket back in the day early because they paid high participation rates, but speak to the fact that these annuities, while still very good annuities, how you have to be careful with fixed indexed annuities in terms of the planning process.
Right. So, of course, when annuities are issued, the insurance companies basically buy futures on bonds. And depending on what that bond portfolio is based on that block of business that they're about to issue, will determine the participation rates for all of the annuities for that block of business. So if you get into an annuity during a lower interest rate environment, you're likely not going to have the higher participation rates than you would when it's a little more robust as far as interest rates go and bond issues go. So it's important for you to have somebody that's going to be able to look at those particular annuities, really define how you're planning on using those in the future to determine what best products would suit you.
I'm Tony Walker. You're listening to The Worry-Free Retirement. We will be right back.
Are you retired or retiring soon? Do you have a 401k, IRA, 403b, thrift savings account, or lump sum pension that you'd like to move to safer territory? Did you know that all the money you see on your 401k statement isn't really yours? Depending on your overall taxable income, the government has essentially a lien on your 401k that can tax as much as 40% of your money when you go to take it out. Tony Walker calls this the 401k tax tumor. For almost 40 years, retirement specialist Tony Walker has helped thousands of savers worry less about money by creating game plans to deal with your tax tumor. Get control of your retirement by controlling the taxes owed on it. Schedule a free meeting to see if you can reduce your tax tumor and provide a guaranteed income you can never outlive. To get started, simply log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com. That's TonyWalkerFinancial.com.
The individuals in this interview are uncompensated clients at the time of filming. Their opinions expressed were provided to Worry-Free Productions for use as an advertisement by Tony Walker Financial. Please refer to Form CRS and Form ADV Part 2A Disclosure Brochure for information regarding the advisory services offered by Tony Walker Financial.
Our client spotlight today shines brightly on Mr. Greg Ray. Greg, good afternoon, and thanks for joining us today.
Nice to be here, Tony. Thanks for having me.
You're so welcome. So what prompted you to contact us at this time? Because you've only been a client, about a year or so. So what prompted you to contact us?
I just happened on Sunday morning to see the Tony Walker Show, quite frankly, Tony. Yeah. And from there, about I'd say a year and a half ago, we really could relate to your story. We bought your book, Live Well, Die Broke, or whatever it is. Yep. And your story and your principles and your Christian foundation and thoughts about and the balance of, what do you need to have? What do you want to leave to your kids or what have you? Because I got a couple of boys and their families, and then, the rest of it, how you want to live your life while you still can live your life, that is. So those three things align with the values and all that. We stopped in for a visit. We simply came in and asked for a visit, and we got to sit down with you, and that was about a year and a half ago, and we're so glad we did. So,
and again, not to disparage anybody, but going from a large bank to I'd say we're more of a boutique firm, locally owned and everything, service-wise and everything, what have you experienced maybe that's a little different?
Well, the biggest thing is, and probably the most surprising thing is, the presentation of the suite of products that you had. If we wanted to stay in the stock market and play the stock market game, which is a little bit more risky, you had the Charles Schwab product suite, fine and dandy. We could continue doing what we've been doing basically through the bank. The fixed income annuity package, some of the things that you had in long-term care planning, the tax planning, the retirement planning, and working, making a plan and working the plan, and the responsiveness of all of your staff is just incredible. That personal relationship. I mean, you guys, it's so responsive to what we wanted. There was no big business or a changeover who your assigned investment banker was week over week or month over month as people moved in and out the branch offices and different things. So very pleased with the individual service.
Well, we appreciate your business and hopefully many more years to come. So thank you, Greg, for doing business with Tony Walker Financial.
And Tony, best to you. We appreciate all you've done for us.
You're
Thanks.
welcome. We'll be right back.
Looking for an advisor you can trust? Schedule your free phone call with Tony at TonyWalkerFinancial.com or call 1-877-499-9255.
Have you recently retired, been laid off, or offered a pension buyout? Has the company you work for moved, been acquired, or closed its doors forever? And finally, do you have a 401k with a previous employer you'd like to move to safer territory? Then take advantage of this opportunity to move your 401k or lump sum pension to Tony Walker Financial. Let's meet in person to discuss your retirement options. Log on now to TonyWalkerFinancial.com to schedule your free, no obligation appointment. Let us help you today.
Realizing you are a big part of Tony Walker Financial, I am sure our audience is wondering, what happens to TWF when something happens to you?
This is true. In fact, years ago when I used to host public seminars, this was a frequent question from the audience. At the very end, they would always ask it, what happens to Tony Walker Financial when, not if, when something happens to you? And quite frankly, 10 years ago, I'm not sure if Tony Walker Financial would have survived if something were to happen to me. But now I feel very confident that Tony Walker Financial will survive and thrive whenever I can no longer do what I'm doing right now.
You always say that having a written retirement game plan in place first is more important than the financial product one might choose to invest in for retirement. Why is this written game plan so important?
Well, let me answer your question with a question. Would you ever take a road trip to a far-off destination without a road map? Well, neither should a saver enter the world of retirement without some sort of financial roadmap, which is what I've spent years to perfect. This proprietary software that no other advisor possesses, and I know this, Diane, because I created it. And not only do our clients get this free roadmap, our staff is there to guide savers along the way as changes are going to come their way in retirement. So it's a wonderful thing, and it is proprietary to Tony Walker Financial. Who can you trust? It's one of the most important decisions you'll have to make. Question is, are you ready? Well, we're here to help at Tony Walker Financial. You know, we care more about you than we do your money, and we have over 2,000 happy clients and an A-plus rating with the Better Business Bureau to prove it. Rolling over a 401k, confused about Social Security, maybe you're afraid of running out of money. Learn how to use and enjoy and protect your hard-earned money. Log on now to TonyWalkerFinancial.com and let's get started. Welcome back to the Worry-Free Retirement, and in the studios with us, we continue our discussion on a year in review for 2024. We have fellow fiduciaries, Heather Hughes, Trey Juergens, and of course, Wes Walker. So again, folks, we're going to jump right back into this. Our 5-step process, the Worry-Free Retirement, has 5 steps, obviously. The third step, we talked about monitor your progress earlier in the income audits. I think we got that down. I'm excited about that. The third step was always a little catchy for me, too, to really think through. It's called the commitment phase. This is when somebody says, yep, we're ready to do business. And I felt like we were not really onboarding. I think we came up with that word. How do we make this person feel very comfortable in moving over their life savings to us? And I think sometimes we rush that process a little bit. We didn't mean to. It's just we rush them through the process. And this is the biggest decision some of these people will make in their lives, is to roll over a large 401k or a pension. So speak to what we've done there, Heather, to slow that process down and started literally an onboarding department to help those clients feel comfortable about their move.
Absolutely. So I believe last year and even coming into the future, for 2025, we've really been focused on client experience. And so we wanted to streamline our process because our clients are growing. We still don't want to suffer in service. So I think it was January last year, we hired Beth Wisman. She is our onboarding specialist, and she takes a look at what somebody commits to move forward, what additional information we need to get the proper applications together. She reaches out to the client, requests documents, gets some more information, and has really streamlined the process as kind of the liaison between the Schwab and the annuity new business departments. So she's been a lifesaver. It's been great. We've really enjoyed having her here, and she's it's really streamlined what we can do as far as new business to try to make that experience with clients one that's easy for them.
And then, Trey, we always kid around the down the hall syndrome, but a lot of times when people say, yeah, I'm ready to move forward, I'll take them down the hall just to go over the plan one more time, and Beth gets involved at that point. But speak to your role in going through the process with them on an onboarding basis.
Yeah, so in years past, we'd jump right in. I'd be filling out applications, helping them get this money moved where it needs to be. What we thought was doing them the courtesy of saving them some time and another trip. But what we realized is there may be other information in annuities and other information in Schwab that's needed. So what we really did was slow down the process, make sure we have everything we need. Beth makes that onboarding phone call or does it in person sometimes. You'll bring people to me just as another advisor to confirm answering any questions, where this money's going, what it's going to be doing down the road, and just kind of take a breath. It is a big decision, and make sure they're comfortable with everything. And then Beth jumps in. We figure out how they'd like to sign applications and move forward from there.
And there's some psychology in that. One reason I want them to meet with you or Heather, sometimes Wes. I know Wes is more involved in investments, but I want them to know there's other people besides me there. There's somebody else looking at the plan. There's somebody else they can talk to. We have a different arrangement here. We don't assign advisors. Every advisor kind of works on a tag team basis. We're there to help. So I think they appreciate the fact that they also get to meet again with another advisor to go over the plan, so they know that somebody else is here. Especially, we'll talk about this later, if something happens to Tony. I mean, they need to be assured that somebody's going to be there. So we appreciate that opportunity as well. All right. Speaking of onboarding, I think you've got this up here, Derek. Yeah, in fact, in 2024, let's see how many new clients we onboarded, 414. That is a lot. Derek, do you also have the first appointments up there? Let's see if we've got those. Yeah, I mean, this is an impressive number. In 2023, we had 562. Now, that's just first appointments. That's people who have contacted us from the TV, radio show, or whatever. And look at that in 2024, 662. However, and I know, Wes, you do this a lot of times people will call in, or they'll complete what's called a Let's Get Started. And we've started something called the 10-minute free. It's a free phone call, fiduciary phone call. And that number could be much higher, of course, the first appointments. But why did we implement that fiduciary phone call on the front end?
Well, it's a good service because it can help differentiate if we can help in the first place or not. We might not be able to do anything in their situation, and it's a good way for us to kind of get ahead of that and just show we might not be a fit. Assuming we are a good fit for that person, then we can get their background information on the front end. I can write just kind of a synopsis of what their situation is, get that to you. They will inevitably, almost always, meet with you on a first appointment to better understand their situation, but I'll get those notes to you so that you can know a little bit more about what's going on with them before they get
I appreciate those notes, Wes.
No problem, Tony.
At that age, we always kid. Not only is my handwriting bad, did they teach penmanship back in school?
This is luckily all on a computer, my notes, so don't have to worry about it.
We laugh about that. Interesting, on the number of income plans, we got to have a shout out to Lisa. So you went through that. I meet with them usually on the first appointment. I design the plan, and then we turn it over to the income planning department. Let's take a look, Derek, if you have the new income plans. This is really interesting. These take anywhere from 3 to 6 hours to put together. I mean, taking a look at this, so in 2023, we had 901 income plans, and then we have a full department that does this. And again, 3 to 6 hours of work goes into this. Look at 2024, 974. So not only are we trying to limit the number of first appointments for those that may not be quite ready for our services, this helps our income planning department to focus on those income plans, which are very laborious. So, and then we want to conclude the show. Folks, we're going to be right back with another show next week because we're running out of time. But I want to speak to the fact of, real quickly here, Trey, you're in our compliance department, the testimonials, the Google reviews, and then the Better Business reviews.
Yeah, so by adopting the SEC's new marketing rule, we are able to get client testimonials. We have those on YouTube with our client spotlights. We also can do third-party reviews. So Google, Better Business Bureau, those have been invaluable. So when we deliver a binder, we always ask them, if you don't mind, leave us a review. It's been huge. It's been a big deal.
And I appreciate you overseeing that. So what I'm going to have to do, we're going to conclude this show. You all stay put. We'll start recording show number 2. So thank you. Hang tight. We'll be right back. Well, folks, we hope you've enjoyed today's program. We will be back next week on the Worry-Free Retirement to discuss further with the 3 amigos here, my 3 fiduciary friends, what we're offering at Tony Walker Financial as we continue to take this year in review of 2024. But in the meantime, you remember, between now and next week, if all else fails, you be worry-free and make it a good one.